So in the last episode of this series, we found out that Lee Petty would take NASCAR's first season over Red Byron and would go down as the first champion of NASCAR. So in the second part of this 26-part series, we're going to take a look at the 1950 season and what could potentially change. In 1950, there would be 9 full-time drivers: Bill Rexford, Curtis Turner, Lee Petty, Tim Flock, Herb Thomas, Bill Blair, Chuck Mahoney, Dick Linder, and Lloyd Moore. In the first 5 races of the season, there would only be 3 full-time winners. Tim Flock would win the second race of the season at Charlotte, with Curtis Turner winning back-to-back races at Langhorne and Martinsville, and Bill Rexford would take race 5 at Canfield. So already a quarter of the way into the season, we would have 5 drivers in contention for the title: Lloyd Moore, Tim Flock, Curtis Turner, Lee Petty, and Bill Rexford. At race 6 in Vernon, neither Tim Flock or Curtis Turner would participate, and this would hand second to Lee Petty, who finished 5th and was now 71 points behind. Bill Rexford finished 6th and was now 156 points back in 3rd. Tim Flock would drop to 4th and was now 189 points behind, and Curtis Turner would now be 5th. 196 points back. At Dayton, Lloyd Moore would have a horrible 23rd place finish, while Lee Petty would cut the gap down to 23 points with an 8th place finish. Bill Rexford would finish 10th and was now 116 points back. Curtis Turner, who finished 4th, was now 120 points behind. And Tim Flock, who didn't participate, would drop out of contention. At Monroe, Moore would have a 7th place finish, while Lee Petty would have a 3rd place finish and cut the gap to just 4 points. Curtis Turner would win the race and move into 3rd and was now 81 points behind. Bill Rexford would finish 5th and was now 4th, 107 points back. At Charlotte, Lloyd Moore finished 21st and would drop to 3rd in the standings, 26 points behind new leader Lee Petty, who finished 11th. Curtis Turner would win the race and was now 2nd, 22 points behind. Bill Rexford would finish 19th and was now 127 points behind and 4th. At Hillsborough, the lead would swap hands again, with Curtis Turner finishing 2nd while Lee Petty finished 7th. And with Lloyd Moore not participating in the race, this would drop him out of contention. So halfway through the season, we would have a 3-way title fight between Curtis Turner, Lee Petty, and Bill Rexford. At the next race in Dayton, Curtis Turner would finish 23rd while Lee Petty would finish 4th and was now 49 points behind Petty. Bill Rexford finished 14th and was now 152 points back. At Hamburg, Curtis Turner would finish 3rd and took the lead back by 37 points over Petty, who finished 27th. Bill Rexford finished 6th and was now 123 points behind. At the Southern 500, Curtis Turner would have an abysmal day, finishing 60th, while Lee Petty would finish 6th and would take the lead back by 76 points over Bill Rexford and 84 points over Turner. At Langhorne, Lee Petty would finish 4th and would solidify his lead, while Curtis Turner would finish 24th and drift further away from contention. With 5 races to go, Lee Petty seemed to have a strong hold on the championship, and it would take a miracle for either Turner or Rexford to catch him. At North Wilkesboro, Curtis Turner would be the only contender to participate and would fail to make the most of it and only finish 22nd and cut the gap down to 51 points. At Vernon, Lee Petty would finish 7th while Rexford finished 6th and cut the gap to 90 points, and Curtis Turner would not participate and would fall out of contention. At Martinsville, Lee Petty would finish 2nd while Rexford would not participate and would now be 260 points behind. At the penultimate race in Winchester, Rexford finished 3rd while Petty would be the one to not participate and would cut the gap to just 95 points going into the finale at Hillsborough. Lee Petty just needed a 24th place finish, but in the finale, Lee Petty would assert dominance and win the race while Rexford finished 26th, and Lee Petty would go back-to-back and win NASCAR's first 2 championships. So already, Lee Petty would be the NASCAR's first 2-time champion, a title that in real life belongs to Herb Thomas, and he would also be the first back-to-back champion, a title that belongs to Buck Baker in real life. So in just the first 2 episodes, so much had already changed. Red Byron and Bill Rexford would both be stripped of their titles, and who knows who else could benefit or who else could lose from this series. Well, that'll do it for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week for 1951.